such a pleasure to be here. How's everyone doing today? We just came from a very big, beautiful lunch at Caesar, so forgive us if we're getting our energy back up and running here. It's such a pleasure to be here with all of you today. So, like Kathy said, my name is Stacey Edelstein. I'm a designer and a business owner from San Diego, and I'm here to share some personal stories with you about community organizing, both in San Diego and now in Tijuana with all of you. But first, I really want to extend a huge thank you to Kathy and the entire Enigma and Tijuana Design Week team, and you, this amazing community right here in this room. You've always been so welcoming of us and genuine and generous, always showing us such a great time. And I hope that this weekend we can all take the opportunity to really listen to each other and learn from you about what we can do in San Diego to extend the same welcome to you. Picking you up at the border in an air-conditioned shuttle, making you some hotel and dinner reservations, making sure that the exchange goes both ways, right? Because that's really what a community is. It's a back and forth, and it's something that needs to go both ways. And so I also want to point out, just how incredible it is that a small business like Enigma and Send and Drift have worked so hard with the support of the community to create these opportunities for connection. Catalina and Arturo are an inspiration to us, and the fact that we are here today in this room when so many systems and so many people are working to keep us apart is really such a miracle and such a gift. Because our cities have not been designed for connection, right? And being able to break bread with you, initiate conversation with you, and really cultivate this shared understanding across our different cultures is something that I consider to be a revolutionary act. So again, I just want to ground us in that fact, and making sure that we're all taking that opportunity this weekend to really listen to one another. And so that's really what I'm talking about when I talk about expansive creativity. It's when we businesses and artists and creatives have the resources and the agency to harness our own creative power, and we open the space for community to prosper and ultimately expand our opportunities for connection. I don't know where to put this. I'm just going to put it here and hope it doesn't catch on fire. Okay, so I like I mentioned, run a creative studio called Raygun, and I've been organizing and designing creative communities for about 10 years. Community to me is a sacred space. It's sometimes the only space where people feel comfortable to come as who they are and get to share the things that matter most to them and have meaningful interactions. And so this is one of my first organizing events with a group called Tech Ladies. You can't see this, but we're having a really good time at a lunch here and chatting. So we had no agenda, right? It was just 2 hours to eat and talk and listen to each other. And it was really meant to be this opportunity to create space for women and non-binary people in the tech industry who felt that they didn't have a place to call their own, that they didn't have connections that they were making at work. And so eventually, after several dinners like that, we started organizing these larger events that you also can't see really right here, but they were really wonderful. And at this event called Words of Wisdom, we had employees of a local tech company prepare letters to their younger selves, which they then read out loud in front of their coworkers, in front of the community, to really share what was most important to them. And it's really amazing what people will bring to the table, just when you let them know how important their story is, and that their words and that their experiences, everything that makes them who they are, is something that matters and something that deserves to be heard. And that's really what community is all about, right? It's that opportunity to share in complete openness, without the fear of judgment, or without the fear for our safety, right? And so eventually I took built my own courage to share my story on the big stage at Creative Mornings San Diego, where I still am today, organizing monthly events for our creative community, about 200 attendees each month. And, one of the things that I love so much about Creative Mornings is that it reinforces this idea that community is sacred. But it's also important to know that the word community has been commodified in recent years. By corporations, we're looking to profit off of our language, off of our words, off of our culture. And so it's really important for us here in this room to take back that word and really define who we are in our own words, create our own narratives, and make sure that gets spread out to the world. And that's really what Tijuana Design Week, Creative Mornings, that's what it's all about, is providing community that place for connection and to define who we are and get to tell our own stories in the words that are meaningful to us and not defined by anybody else. And I think that our institutions can really help us, empower us to do these things by providing us the resources and support that we need in order to build more connected communities and more opportunities for connection. Here's a little snapshot of us outside the San Diego Public Library. And I think, Creative Mornings, Tijuana Design Week, these independent platforms have personally allowed me, as an entrepreneur, to build relationships, to earn trust, to gain access and organize not from a place of responsibility, but from a place of curiosity and of friendship and of love and hard work, right? And that's really what community is. So that's all the stuff that I like to do and think about in my free time. I also run a small business called Raygun. And that's us here in our fun little office, headquartered at the San Diego Factory in Logan Heights. We're inside a 12,000 square foot renovated skateboard factory that's now home to artists and small businesses and co-workings. And at Raygun, we like to start some shit. Because as brand strategists and designers and developers, we help bring creative power to bold causes, to help them reach their audiences and tell our personal stories in a way that's authentic and genuine to who we are. Our best work, seen here, which maybe we'll share these slides out afterwards so you can actually take a look at them. So our best work is really rooted in storytelling and getting to tell the stories of issues that matter the most to us from our own perspective, from the lens of community members. So this is a campaign that we designed for the California Endowment, the largest private health foundation in California. And so this is a campaign all about housing justice and how the fight for affordable housing is powered by people. And when people come together for collective action, that's when we see things start to happen, and that's when we see real change take place in our communities. Another campaign we designed here for the California Endowment was exploring the idea of identity and representation and how important it is to take up space, to share who we are, claim our identity in our own words, and get to do that in a way that is free and again without judgment. So these were real people we featured on billboards all throughout California, about 19 different designs throughout the state, and just giving people the space to claim who they were and tell everybody, this is who I am, and by doing so, we're creating a state of belonging for everybody, no matter who they are, where they come from, and what their orientation might be. For us, design technology has always been about connecting people. And I think that's really very apparent in what we saw with the San Diego Design Week Festival that launched amidst the pandemic, right? It was September 2020, a really, really great time to launch a festival, which we did. And the website became this place for connection, where the community was allowed to come together, to create our own programming. We were prompted to gather and create workshops and meetings and just share what was most important to us. And I I think that's really a testament to the power of what technology can enable us to do when we're given the right resources. And Design Week became a repository for all of the videos and content that the community created. It's something now that lives on and can serve as an archive to, again, shape that narrative and tell our story about who we are as a community and what matters most to us. During Design Week, that first year when we were, we were apart, our programming that we designed, in addition to making the website, was to organize a 48-hour design sprint event where we gathered designers, strategists, writers for 2 days, and we rebranded an organization called the March for Black Women. And all within 48 hours, we created branding, messaging, design toolkit, all meant to support this organization and provide them with the resources that they wouldn't be able to afford otherwise. But because of the power of community, we were able to come together and really make sure that our organizations who are working for the liberation of community were self-supported and had what they needed to do their work. So going back to this concept of expansive creativity, because of our proximity to community and the work that we are doing in the community, us at Raygun, we started to ask, well, what's next? What can we do that will best serve our community and reflect what we're hearing from our community members? So I'm very excited to actually reveal here for the first time a new project that has been in the works at Raygun that we haven't revealed before to the public. So I'm very excited to share with you a self-guided project that is going to help with the third component of connection. And we are calling it Border Stands. So Border Stands is an independent platform we're building to enable widespread collaboration and connection between our communities here in this room. So currently we're building what we hope to be the largest public directory of creatives, businesses, organizations, events, resources that serve our design and creative communities and make it searchable and available to anybody online. So you can search for people, organizations by discipline, by location, and every organization and person within the directory will have their own profile that you can learn about, read about, and get connected with them. So our hope is that by making this information publicly accessible, it can be served as a resource and an archive for all of us to stay connected and see what we can create together as these amazing gatherings like TJDW, San Diego Design Week, World Design Capital start to happen. We hope to support those endeavors by connecting all of us. So, we hope that everyone here will sign up for the directory, sign up for our mailing list. If you go to borderstands.com, it's available in English and Spanish. You can click and join the directory, enter your information. We'll be sending out lots of information about what's coming next with the platform. We're going to be designing it out in the open, so we'll be sharing tips about technology, user experience, design, copywriting, everything that goes into building a platform for the community. We will be sharing that, and it'll be entirely free and free forever. It's really important that our community has local resources made for us and by us. So please make sure to sign up at borderstands.com, and hopefully with the right kinds of resources and support, we can be rolling out more activations and doing great collaborations with all of you in this room. So with that, I want to say thank you for your time, and I look forward to discussing our projects with you and learning from you this weekend and hosting you in San Diego when you come over.